In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, we give Him praise and thanks for His mercy and goodness to the human family. That mercy and that goodness is found most in what He reveals to the human family through the mouth of His prophets and messengers. We thank Him then for Moses and the Torah. We thank Him for Jesus and the gospel. We thank Him for Muhammad and the Quran. Peace be upon these worthy servants of Allah. I am a student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I could never thank Allah enough for His intervention in our affairs, raising up one from among us to lead, teach, and guide us into a process that would make us what God created us to be in the beginning. He created us to be Muslims, righteous people, and therefore I could not speak with you or say anything of value to you without giving honor to that man that taught me and helped to shape and mold me, who sacrificed 44 years of his life among us to put us in this process, knowing that the process would never be complete until we understood the universal message of Islam that came with Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah, peace be upon him. And that message would not be complete, or our journey would not be complete, not just until we came into the universal knowledge of Islam, but until we, in that long process, became what Allah created us to be, Khalifa, vicegerent, the representative of Allah on earth. That when they would see us, they would see a reflection of Him. And when they hear us, they would hear Him. And when we would act, it would not be we who are acting, it would be Him acting through us because of our perfect submission to His will and to His will alone. That's the process. We are a long way from Khalifa. But some of us have aborted ourselves on the journey by thinking that we have already arrived. And when you think that you have already arrived, then you reach a plateau of learning. You have not arrived until you and I are one with Allah. That's the journey. That's the journey that we're on. That's the process that we're in. And therefore, we must not abort the journey. I greet all of you with the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. There are 4 major points that I wanted to make with you today, and I thank you all so much for your attendance. I invited Imam Warathuddin Muhammad today, and we were expecting him, but unfortunately something happened. He won't be able to be with us, but I wanted him to know that he was welcome at home. This is his home. and we invited our great brother Muhammad Ali, and he is on his way, should be here within the next 10 minutes or so. We've all seen our brother, but we haven't seen him up close. But we want to look at him and thank Allah for him and know that he is a great, great warrior in the cause of God. For all of you that are present, I want to thank Brother Minister Akbar Muhammad for his words today. Brothers Rasul and Ishmael Muhammad for their words today. And Brother Charles Sabri, my longtime companion and friend, for your words today. Thank you. All of the wonderful Muslims that are here from the various communities, and all of the Christian pastors and persons of Christianity who are here. We are honored greatly to have you in our midst. Now, the subject matter that I wanted to deal with today is the characteristic that is necessary in leadership in a time of world crisis. No one who is here today listening and watching television and listening to the news or reading the newspapers is not aware that we are definitely in a time of great world crisis. The world leaders that we look to for leadership are actually demonstrating bankruptcy in the qualities of leadership that are necessary in a time of crisis. I thought that today I would like to focus on that. Also, I wanted to talk to us about this journey. In Islam, we call it Hajj or pilgrimage. But Hajj or pilgrimage to Mecca is a sign of a greater journey. And the greater journey is from sperm to the manifestation of God. That's the journey. To go to Mecca, to make 7 circuits around Al-Kaaba, to understand the significance of that ancient house is knowledge. But wisdom is to understand what that means, what it signifies of the greater journey that all of us should be on. When you look at the sperm and the ovum of the human being and the first cell of life that it forms, the DNA that is in the first cell can determine or does determine how tall you will be at full growth. That's a journey. You cannot add 1 cubit to your height after you have reached full growth. But you can add girth. And it is this horizontal growth that represents death if it is not controlled by vertical growth. And vertical growth does not mean growing up to the fullness of our height potential, but vertical growth signifies our growth upward in righteousness toward the oneness with God. Now, many of us, as we reach maturity, fullness in physical height, we can't grow anymore that way. But the mind is infinite, and that must continue to grow until death overtakes us. And it is our vertical growth in knowledge and wisdom that will control the horizontal growth of man's need for expansion. Growth materially. I want to possess homes. I want to possess business. I want to gain wealth. There's nothing wrong with that. That is what God has provided us a universe for, and an earth that is full of wealth. But if your horizontal growth is not governed by vertical growth, then your horizontal growth will sentence you to a horizontal level which represents death. Now, so the journey from sperm mixed with ovum to the manifestation of God in our lives, oneness with God, is a process that every time you reach another stage in your development, you will lose something and you will gain something. As the body grows, the struggle of life and death is going on within us. There are cells dying as there are new cells coming to birth. So breaking down and building up is a process that continues until death. What am I saying? The journey toward Allah, He causes us to make stage after stage until we can reach eventual perfection. But at every stage of our development, knowledge-wise, spiritual-wise, you may find loss of a friend and the gaining of new ones. At every stage of development in the journey in religion, you will find as you grow and you change with growth, there are some who got so comfortable in the last stage of their growth, they do not wish to grow anymore. So when you grow past where you were, those that are comfortable where you were will condemn where you are. But where you are, you will gain new friends. And the sad thing is that you will lose old friends. So I believe this is why Jesus said, the race is not to the swift, nor to the strong, but to those who can endure to the end. Now, most of us would like ease. I mean, that's natural. But Allah, God, did not desire ease except after struggle. And he warns us when he gives us ease to be careful of those who live the easy life. Because the easy life will cause girth and stunt your vertical growth toward God. So before you can get too fat, God drops you into another trial that will advance you forward if your attitude in trial and tribulation is right, because adversity is the mother of creativity. I'm going to say that again. The Quran teaches us that Allah begets not, nor was he begotten. To understand that takes deep wisdom. I don't say that I have it, but I had a teacher. He said, if Allah was not begotten, he then is self-created. Self-created. But his own self-creation was attended by adversity. And every life bears witness to his life. Nothing comes into existence without struggle. Nothing comes into existence without adversity. So when you find yourself surrounded by opposition, adversity, and struggle, don't feel that God is displeased with you. Know that this is preparatory to a new stage in your own growth and development. When I began to understand that at every stage of growth and transition, there's a period of darkness. And in that darkness, there's confusion and chaos. But chaos has to precede order, as darkness precedes light, as inactivity or death precedes life. So when you see great chaos, as we live in today, great confusion, as we see in the leaders of today, great trial, tribulation, don't despair. Don't say, what is the world coming to? Understand that some part of it is coming to an end, but that end is also representative of a new beginning. The question is, who will make it out of the old into the new? This book, Quran, is called Al-Nur, the light. Not a light, the light. Without light, there can be no revolution. Without light, there can be no change. All growth must be preceded by the presence of light. For darkness represents no time, no growth, death. So the Bible teaches a people walked in darkness, gross darkness, the people. But then it says, upon them hath the light shined. Once light strikes, the energy that is in the light causes matter to move in accordance with the law of light. Anytime light strikes you, then it forces you to move and to change. So this book, Al-Nur, is a book that produces revolution. Not the cheap kind of revolution that you see in the world where people say, I'm a revolutionary with a gun in their hand. Because the revolutionary with a gun in his hand will take down one government only to replace it with the same thing that he is destroying. But revolution signifies complete change. This book, Quran, is to bring about complete change, transformation in the heart, mind, soul, and spirit of the human being. Once this book becomes the light of our lives and the example of the prophet becomes the light of our lives. Listen to me carefully now. Not the way he wore his beard. Not the way he wore his garment. Not the dye that he put in his hair. That is superficial. And the prophet was not superficial. And you cannot represent him, in my humble judgment, in superficiality. Where you look at the prophet, and if somebody dresses like him, has a beard like him, you say, and he says, Assalamu alaikum, like the prophet, or says his prayers in the manner that the prophet prescribed. All this is good, but that does not yet make you a follower of the prophet. Now I want you to hear what I have to say today. That's superficial. And if a prophet is to be for all time, up until the day of judgment, then you cannot dress him outwardly. You must address him inwardly and then dress yourselves in his character and in the way he handled the problems of his day, because the cyclical nature of history will confront us, and we will be confronted with some of the same things that the prophet was confronted with. So not knowing how he acted, but knowing how he dressed will cause you to dress like him but not act like him. Therefore, you will not address the problems of your time properly. We are in a time of great problem. But the solution has already been given. But the Quran says that they in leadership would no longer take this book as their guide. They would put it behind their back. And if the light is behind your back, what is guiding your footsteps? If this book is ancient stories, unworthy of us to study it to find answers to today's problems, then what are you following? You are following the world and its science, the world and its philosophy, the world and its precepts. But God, the eternal and the all-wise, we have put him behind our back. And when you put, I think this is my brother. There he is. Excuse me. Our brother is here, and we are very honored to have Brother Ali with us. I'm only too sad that the Imam is not here, because we have much work to do, much work that we will do, much work that Allah has put on us to do. Now, if Brother Ali at any time wishes to say a word to us, we will be honored to hear what he has to say. Now, getting back to where I was, if the leaders in the world of Islam have put the light, the Quran, behind their backs, then they are leading their people by the precepts and doctrines of men. And the people can never be satisfied with the doctrines of men once they have come to call themselves a Muslim. They don't want to hear what men have to say. They want to hear what Allah has to say, what God has to say. It is the same with Christians. You want to hear what did Christ have to say. Don't bring me to church to tell me what you have to say, because you just got here and you haven't been too good while being here. So please tell me what the eternal God has to say, for he is the best knower, and I want to be his servant and his follower, not the servant and follower of men. I want to be the follower of God, following the example of the prophets whom he raised to give us guidance. Having said that, I looked at President Bush in a time of world crisis. I wrote him a letter, and I'm going to quote a portion of that letter for you because I felt that he needed guidance. I felt that he needed counsel. You say, well, how arrogant can you be? Just a minute. I'm not being arrogant. But Allah can guide whom he pleases. And he can take a slave and give him guidance for a master. He can take one that was a fool and give him guidance for the so-called wise. And that becomes a test for the hearer. Is he humble enough to listen? Osama bin Laden, they say, is guilty of sending terrorists to bomb the World Trade Center. And most Americans and people of the world have been herded like sheep into believing that without proof. Cynthia Mckinney, the black representative from Georgia, desires to hold congressional hearings to answer the question, Mr. Bush, what did you know? When did you know it? And if you knew it, what did you do about it? She wants to raise the question to the intelligence community, the CIA, the FBI. What did you know? When did you know it? And if you knew it prior to September the 11th, what did you do? Now here's a black woman from Georgia calling government to account. This is why we are in the midst of America. This is why God allowed John Hawkins to bring our fathers into slavery, because there would be a time when we would have a divine mission. I said to the president, Mr. bin Laden and no Muslim leader could call for jihad and make it happen. There is no Muslim leader on the earth that has that power of the Khilafah or the Caliph to call for and actually have a holy war. They call for it with their mouths, but there's no answer. I said, but you, President Bush, are in a position of power like no human being has been in since Adam. And if you make the wrong moves, you can bring 1,800,000,000 Muslims into anger against the United States of America. You have that power. You are right to go after those who bombed the World Trade Center. But I said to him, Allah has shown me what is in your mind. Now you may say that the Farrakhan is crazy. I really don't care what you say. I'm telling you. I said, if you pursue what you have in your mind, the coalition will fall apart. The Muslim world will rise in anger against America. Even England will back out on you. And whatever you do, you'll have to do it alone. And you will run into something that you had not counted on. And Armageddon will be on. I told him this in late November or sometime in December. He never answered. He sent Vice President Cheney into the Muslim world to ask them to back America in their desire to destroy Saddam Hussein. The whole Muslim world turned him down. The other day, however, in a press conference at his farm in Crawford, Texas, he and Prime Minister Blair were together, and the president said, quote, "It is the policy of this administration to remove Saddam Hussein from power." I did not say it. He said it. Now, since when has it ever been the policy of an administration of the United States openly to remove another man in another country from power when you got 15 million or more homeless people in America? Where's your policy for the homeless? Where's your policy for the weak and the hungry that go to bed every night without adequate food in a land of plenty? Where is your policy to put the American people who are out of jobs to work? Where is your policy to give decent health care to the American people who don't have adequate health care? That's what the American people want to hear. So if the policy of his administration is to remove a man from power, and in order to do it, he has to use the patriotic spirit of the armed forces of America, young lives will be lost on an outlaw adventure. that is not supported by the United Nations, by international law, but it is supported by an executive order that he signed. But the executive order of the government of the United States of America is not binding in an international forum. If he does this, he will be a criminal. If he does this, the innocent lives of American soldiers that are lost, he will have to bear that price, and the innocent lives of Iraqi people that die, then he will be a war criminal. But what court will be strong enough to try the President of the United States as a war criminal? Only God and the power of God. I cannot say that I don't love this country. This is the country of my birth. We have suffered here for over 400 years. But still, this is the land of our birth. I can't let the president do what he wants to do when he is supposed to carry out the will of the people. Are we not the people? Well, then what is your will and what is my will? And above all, what is God's will? Now you may say, Farrakhan, if you continue like this, you will lose your life. I say, so what? So what? This is why I chose for my subject today the characteristic of leadership in a time of world crisis. God demands of leaders today. Whoever will be a leader, he demands courage. He demands fearlessness. He demands faithfulness. Putting one's complete trust in Allah is what is necessary for leadership to be able to stand up in an hour like this rather than lay down out of fear of a loss of something that you don't even have. How can you lose what you don't have? In an hour like this, when there's so much patriotic zeal, one would be afraid to speak a word that would cause somebody to say he's or she's unpatriotic. But to be patriotic is to conform to the meaning of the root of that word. The word pater, father. The founding fathers of this nation laid down in the Constitution and in the Bill of Rights and in the preamble to the Constitution words that we cannot ignore in an hour like this. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Toward these ends, governments are formed and instituted among men for the preservation of these rights. That's what a government is for, to preserve the right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And whenever a government's policies and practices are counter to life, counter to liberty, and counter to the pursuit of happiness, somebody who's patriotic should stand up and say, enough is enough. But even deeper than this, Christians say, when they ask Jesus, teach us how to pray. And he said, pray on this wise: Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So the highest form of patriotism is to recognize the Father and recognize his will. So in the time of the apostles, according to the New Testament, they were forced to answer the question, shall I obey God or shall I obey man? Well, you and I are in that valley of decision today. Will you obey God? Or will we be so afraid of men that we will obey men and excuse ourselves from the higher duty to obey God? So what are these qualifications of leadership? How did God approach this subject? Say, whenever he sent his prophets out, I love the word that he gave them. I'm going to start with Prophet Muhammad and work backward. Now, he's revealing a book to his servant, starting in a cave in Mecca. He's making that servant his messenger. He knows that his servant is going to be persecuted. He knows that people will plot against his servant's life. He knows that. He knows that at some point, if he doesn't stand up and fight, there would be no Islam in the world. So he says to his servant, O messenger, deliver that which has been revealed to thee from thy Lord. And if thou do it not, thou hast not delivered his message, and Allah will protect thee from men. Surely Allah guides not the disbelieving people. So whenever God gives you a message, there are men who will hate the message and hate you for delivering the message. But you are not to fear men. For Allah says, I will protect thee from men. The question is, do you believe that Allah has the power to protect you from men who plot against you when you stand up in obedience to God? Now look at this. After the death of Moses, it came to pass that the Lord spoke to Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' assistant, saying, Moses, my servant is dead. Now therefore, arise and go over this Jordan, you and all this people, to the land which I am giving to them, the children of Israel. Then he tells him, no man shall be able to stand before you, Joshua, all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. Oh, look at this now. He says, I will not leave you, nor forsake you. What do you want me to do, God? Be strong. Be strong and be of good courage. Be strong. When you get those, excuse the expression, punctified feelings, little palpitation in the heart, worrying about consequences and not worrying about displeasing God. Remember his words, I will be with you, I will not forsake you, so be strong and be of great courage. Then he says, boy, this is something heavy. He gave him the law. He said, this law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written. For then will I make your way prosperous. I'm going to stop right there for a minute. See, when you are not prosperous in what it is that you're attempting to do, don't look around and say, who's my enemy? Don't look around and say, who's stopping me from being prosperous? No, go look in the mirror. Because if you are obedient to God, he said he will make you prosperous even in the midst of your enemies. If you take my law and meditate on it day and night and observe and do what I command you, not only will you be prosperous, but you will have good success. Do you want to be a failure? Don't you want success? Then meditate on the law of God night and day, and then do it. The problem with us is we preach it. You got all these damnable preachers who can preach the word, but who will stand up and live what God has said? That's the question. Now, check this out. He says, this day I will begin to exalt you in the sight of all Israel, that they may know that as I was with Moses, so will I be with you. So he's not going to hide his servant, but he's going to exalt his servant right in your midst, so that you can know that as he was with the mouth of the man that preceded him, he will be with the mouth of that man that he has anointed and appointed after him. Okay. Then he says in the book of Isaiah, fear not, I'm with you. People, in order for you to survive today, you have to have a relationship with Allah that you know. You ain't guessing, you know that he's with you. Not just with the big shot, but he's with the littlest shot in the house if you are with him. He's with you, and you can do great things. You don't have to wait for some big leader. With God on your side, stand up and be the leader yourself. Now let's look at Jesus. Y'all all right? I'm almost there. Say, now Jesus told his disciples, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. Well, you think about that. That's a heavy assignment. You say, hey, wait a minute, God. Wait a minute. How you gonna tell me you love me and send me out as a sheep in the midst of some wolves when you know that the wolves love to eat sheep? Then he says, but be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. But listen, beware of men. Say that again, Jesus. He said, beware of men. Who do you hang out with? I'm sure not homosexuals. You hang out with men. Even if you are in that light, you hang out with men that want to be something else. Okay. So your enemy is not way out there away from you. Your enemy might be growing in your own house. Your enemy might be sleeping in the same bed with you. So it said, beware of men, for they will deliver you up in councils and scourge you in their synagogues. 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 You will be brought before governors and kings for my sake. But when they deliver you up, do not worry about how or what you should speak, for it will be given to you in that hour what you should speak, for it is not you who speak, but the Spirit of your Father who speaks in you. Now look, let me tell you something, brother. See, I know this scripture is real. When they were threatening me we ought to bring him before Congress. I said, don't threaten me. Go on and do it. Bring me before the U.S. Congress and see what God, a testimony, will put in my mouth. I don't fear the Congress. I don't fear the president. I don't fear the Supreme Court. There ain't a damn thing on this earth that I'm afraid of. God and God alone is who I should fear. God and God alone. What kind of leaders should stand up today? Not no punk, not no scared to death sissy. You want somebody that will walk into hell with a gasoline jacket on and snatch the devil and beat the hell out of him. Jesus said, don't fear the person that can kill the body, but fear him who has power to kill both body and soul. There are all kind of bodies on the West Bank today. Bodies of men and women and children that are dying at the hands of members of the Israeli Defense Force. They don't want to let the media in to see what they're doing. We're all going to die. Only way you can escape it is you should never have been born. But since you were born, don't worry about it. Every day, every second that we live, we're 1 second, 1 day closer to that ultimate reality. So whether you run to the highest mountain or hide out in a cave, it don't make no difference where you are. Death will overtake us wherever we are. So why fear? Live your life and live it well. And when you can't live it no more, die, but make your death a death that serves the cause of life, not a dope dealer's death, not a pimp and a hustler's death, but a death that, like Stephen when he died, or like Hamza when he died, or like Abu Bakr or Khalid when they died. Die so that your death will serve the cause of life. So in an hour like this, when the president says either you're with me or against me, I'm not with you. And I'm not against you if you seek to find the culprits and bring them to justice. But if you want to use the war on terror as a cover to destroy Saddam Hussein or Muslims in different parts of the world who refuse to bow down to their leaders who have deviated from the path, then we must be willing to accept death rather than accept life under tyranny and oppression. When you see the tanks rolling into the West Bank, making Yasser Arafat a hostage, living in a room with no water, no heat, no electricity, where the Israelis have to bring him food or else he would starve, and water or else he would die of thirst. And then say, you got to do more to rein in the terrorists. Here's a man that can't flush a toilet. Here's a man that has to ask you to bring him water, but you tell him he got to do more to rein in terrorists. Who the hell do you think you are talking to? You think you're talking to people who can't reason? Arafat cannot stop those young men and women from strapping bombs on themselves. I would like to see those young people live. Their life is precious. But the despair and the hopelessness that they are in is such that they will strap bombs on themselves to make life miserable for the Israelis who have made and continue to make life miserable for them. But we live in a time of treachery now, where your brother will be walking right beside you and you think he's your brother, but he's your enemy. You live at a time when the FBI will call you, as they've called some of you that follow me. Who was that visited the minister's house? Well, come and ask me. Do you know what the minister said? Come and ask me. But they want to frighten you to make you their tool. You can go ahead and be that if you want to. You'll never do no harm to me. You that think you're close to me. Be careful how you think. Be careful. When you meet together in your secret councils, my Allah said, if there are two of them, I'm the third. If there are three of them, I'm the fourth. If there are 4 or 5 of them, I'm the 5th or the 6th. Greater or lesser in number, I'm always there. So whenever you plot against yourself. And remember the ditch that you dig for others. Be careful that you don't fall in the ditch that you have dug for others. Now, I'm getting ready to conclude. That's a laugh to some. They say, oh heck, his subject is just beginning. No. Jesus said, the people need good shepherds. He said, all that came before me were thieves and robbers. Then he called some of the leaders hirelings. And I looked that up. Yeah, a hireling is a person who serves for hire. for purely mercenary motives. How much came into plate today? Not how much did you give of knowledge today to raise them above where they are. Hirelings. So when the wolf comes, that kind of shepherd, he flees because he's a hireling. But the good shepherd will lay down his life for the sheep. I heard Yasser Arafat say, "You will not send me into exile. I will die a martyr. Come and kill me then." And his death will mean more to unify Palestinians than his life meant. Jesus said, "He who seeks to save his life will lose it. And he who is willing to lose his life for my sake shall gain eternal life." Now, I want to say this. When the President of the United States said his policy was to remove Saddam Hussein, that's his policy of his administration. I'm not with that. But not only am I not with that, I'm not going to be in no damn hole somewhere whispering that I'm not with that. And what kind of leader are you? Will you be somewhere hiding in a hole talking about you not with that? Or will you stand up like a man and like a woman in an hour like this? Or will you lay down? He said, "That's a man that gassed his own people." In another lecture, I will prove that he did not do that. From the scholars and scientists of America themselves and the War College of America that have investigated that. He killed his own people. Well, Mr. Bush, how did all those drugs come into the black community and the money leave the community to buy guns for the Contras in Nicaragua? Did you drug your own people? People have been having sex for a long time. What today you call unsafe sex. Since time began, men been having sex, unsafe sex. And they never came up with AIDS. They never came up with herpes. They never came up with these viruses that are killing human beings by the millions today. Is chemical warfare being used on us? Is biological warfare being used on us? There's not a household in America that doesn't have a member in that household that is not involved or affected by crack cocaine. I picked up my newspaper on Saturday morning and I read about a police officer who was part of a dope ring. And he got 5 years. But any black boy or girl caught with a certain amount of crack gets 5 off the top. But here's a police officer that violated his oath and became a dope dealer, a dope ring leader, and he only gets 5 years. See, this unjust madness has to stop. I don't say that I can stop it, the war. But here's a man that's here today, Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was willing to make a sacrifice of his championship, of his fame, of his fortune, to stand up against an unjust war. And Brother Ali said, them Viet Congs ain't never called me nigger. And if you go back and listen to what our brother said, almost single-handedly, he inspired a movement in America against the war. He paid a price for that. But in the end, he's the most popular human being that has ever lived in the last 6,000 years. That's our brother. He gave us more joy in the nation of Islam. He made us proud. He took away the grief and the sadness of Malcolm's leaving the nation. Because when one great star went down, another great star came up. I applaud this man as one of the most beautiful hearts that God has seen fit to send into the world. Time and circumstances may wither away the skill in boxing. Time and circumstances may dull the quickness of his speech. Time and circumstances may cause his hand to shake. But time will honor him as one of the greatest men, not only in sports, but the contribution that he's making to Islam as a world religion. Time will give him even more honor than the honor that he's given by his contemporaries. Martin Luther King made a decision to stand against the war. And that decision cost him his life. I have made a decision to be a peacemaker and to stand against unlawful slaughter and murder of innocent human beings here in the United States or elsewhere. Those tanks that you saw in Ramallah, in Nablus, in Jenin. It is what I saw in my mind when I embarked on a Stop the Killing tour and began talking to black men all over this country, because I knew that if you rose up in your ignorance against the power of America simply because you are angry but not wise, the same thing was being planned for you and me. They would ring the black community, cut off the lights, the water, and the gas. And you would see helicopter gunships, and you would see anti-personnel carriers and tanks come in, go right down the street, shooting and killing and maiming. And the press won't be allowed in to see the slaughter of black people. Let me tell you something, black man and woman. The prophets did not lie when they saw blood up to the horse's bridle. That's not just over there. That's here. And if you don't try to stop it over there, then the same thing you see over there will be at your doorstep. So I'm going over there. I have met the leaders of Hamas. I have met the leaders of Hezbollah. I have met the Palestinians who are called extremists. And I have met with Chairman Arafat. I have met with Saddam Hussein, Muammar Gaddafi, Omar Bashir of the Sudan, the president of Syria, the rulers of the Emirates. I'm very respected in that area of the world, not because they agree with everything that I say, but as they saw in my brother a champion, they see the same in me. So I intend to go if it is the will of Allah. And if it is His will, I'll try to enter. Thank you. If it is the will of Allah, I will go into what is called Israel and Palestine. If God does not make me to tremble, then there's nothing for me to fear. I met an old Muslim saint in Medina. He was 103, 104 when I met him. All the great sheikhs in Mecca go and sit around his house and wait for time so that they could see him and he could bless them. On my last visit to Medina, he heard that I was there. It was during Ramadan. 104 or 5-year-old man, he said, tell Farrakhan I will see him immediately after Taraweeh prayers. And any of you that know during Ramadan what Taraweeh prayers are, a 104-year-old man going through that has some strength. After that prayer service, I went to his home, the very humble home. He sat on a little cot, and I kneeled down in front of him. He said these words to me. He said, I pray for you, and I think on you 500 times a day. He said, whenever you decide to go to Jerusalem, as I had decided, and because Brother Arafat could not give me protection, I didn't go. But he chided me. And he said, whenever you decide to go, you go, and Allah will go with you. Never do that again. I said, yes, sir. He said, I want you to make Hajj with me next year so that I can give you the proper respect and show you the courtesy that I'm not able to show you tonight. I thanked him. He said, take him downstairs in another apartment, and they had tea waiting for me. And while I took the tea, he sent his son and one of his students, and he brought me his cloak and his staff. And when the son gave me his cloak and his staff, he said, my father said, give this to you. So I thanked him. When we got back to my hotel, I asked his son and his oldest student, what is the meaning of this? He said, the Bona Sheikh has students all over the world, and he has never done this to one of them. He's handing you the cloak and the staff of his authority. And you may say, that's false or phony. I don't seek honor. I don't care nothing for it, because I know it belongs to Allah. I'm not before you because I'm seeking some kind of self-aggrandizement. I was born, I will die. I soon will be 70 years of age. You don't need applause. I thank Allah. He kept me alive because I yet have work to do. The Bible says there would be a time of trouble like there never was since there was a time and a nation. And in that day, Michael, the archangel, will stand for his people. Stand! Stand! Michael will stand in a time of trouble. Well, what were the others doing in the time of trouble? They were laying down. So when Jesus went to the cross, the disciples didn't go with him. They fled. They couldn't stand in a time of trouble. You've walked with me, many of you, for 25 years. But the race is not to the swift. I don't know what the results will be, but I'm going to do everything in my power to stop this war. Now, they may call me a terrorist. They may say that I'm anti-American. They may freeze bank accounts. It's all right. Money got your face on it. You can have every damn thing that I got. It's just me that you can't have. I don't belong to you. I want to know who will stand. Oh, no. I don't mean no damn hands. Because time is going to tell who will and who won't. But ask Allah to make us strong in an hour like this, that we will not fear the arrow that flieth by day or the one that cometh by night, for we are shadowed under the wings of the Almighty. I will prove to all of you that there is no God but Allah, and He has power over all things. So I thank you for listening. Part 2 will be Wednesday night. I'll meet you back here. I didn't say all that I needed to say, but I said enough. Brothers and sisters, this is an hour of challenge. I pray that Allah will make me strong. Be strong, he says, be of good courage. Be strong. When you go from this place, ask Allah to give you strength. Yes, sir. When you go from this place and you go home and you feel adversity all around you, say, Allah, thank you for the adversity, for you have ordained struggle for me and for all human beings. See me through. See me through. I'm not able to see myself through. Oh Allah, see me through. Isaiah the prophet said, to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? It's like a daddy rolling up his sleeve and showing his son. Feel that, son. See that muscle? No, not me. That's Ali's muscle. But when you have seen the power of God, when he has brought you through what he has brought every one of us through, because every one of us that got here today, somebody brought you through. If you've been to jail and you weathered that storm, somebody brought you through. If you've seen opposition that came against you and death at your door and you escaped, somebody brought you through. So when you know the arm of the Lord, then don't put your trust in any weapon, because no weapon will deliver you today. And to my dear brothers and sisters who may be angry with me because you think I should say to black people, come out of America. Don't be angry with me. Come out of her, it says. Come out of her Babylon. Babylon does not mean leave America physically. Babylon means come out of the grip of a Babylonish system that has gripped you mentally, morally, and spiritually. Come out of her, that you be not partakers of her sins and her plagues. It don't mean find another place on the earth to run to. Where you going to run? Do you think there's peace in Africa? Go there then. You think there's peace in Alaska? Go there then. You think there's peace in Israel? Go there then. Ain't peace nowhere. Not even in Mecca is there peace. Your refuge has to be in God. There is no place to hide. Your hiding place is in him. And if you don't know him, you better get acquainted real fast, because you have no other friend to take us through but Allah, the eternal, the one, the mighty, the wise. We who say that Allah came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, don't get angry with us. Don't say we are guilty of shirk. Please try to understand that if I come to you when you are down and out, and I offer you a way out of your condition, it was not I. it was God in me that answered a prayer that you asked when you asked for deliverance, and God sent you a man, then know that it was God who sent him. It was God who offered you deliverance through that man. This is why the Quran says, had you been an angel, I would have sent you an angel. But since you are a man, I send you a man. Now, a man came to North America. That's all I'm saying. That man taught my father, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And that man, Elijah Muhammad, taught me. And I now am listened to by scholars from all over the world, and you never taught me. So know that if I shared something with you, then it was not I. It was God. Because he's the only reality. Outside of God, there's nothing. So when you walk, let God walk in you. When you talk, let God speak through you. Let your hands be an instrument of his will. And never deny a man who comes to lift you when you are unable to lift yourself. Farad Muhammad mastered the psychology of the black man's mind and the white man's mind. You didn't know how to raise us. Many of you in your sincerity tried, but Farad Muhammad knew how to reach our minds. Don't deny the good that he did. We can't worship his flesh. He was born and he said he would die. Allah is the eternal, the ever-living. But a man, Muhammad Ali, mastered the ring. He's a man. But the power that was in his hands, the strength of his jab and his hook and his right cross, that power came from God. And that's why he said, I am the greatest. He knew that he wasn't the greatest, but he was representing the greatness of God. In the ring, I watched Michael Johnson run the quarter mile, 400 meters, broke the 400-meter record, broke the 200-meter record with golden shoes on. People examining his legs and scientists studying how he stands up like this running. But what was it? It was the excellence of God in a human being running. If any of you saw Michael Jordan at the height of his greatness, one of the white basketball players, Larry Bird, said when he saw Michael Jordan, he saw God in a basketball suit. What was he saying? I saw mastery in a man, but that mastery was only a witness of God. A few months ago, I played the Beethoven Violin Concerto. And as I thought on Beethoven, I said, oh, what a master. His body is in the earth. His flesh has rotted from the bones. But Beethoven lives. because in his music was the essence of God. Today, there are doctors that have worked on Parkinson's disease. And they can put something in the brain and in here that sends a signal to the brain where the hands won't shake anymore. That's not that man. It's God working in a human to advance humanity. So that's why you say, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. All praise for those who discovered heart transplant, stem cell research, cloning. All praise is due to Allah, but he works through men to advance humanity. A man came and he raised up a man. And that man taught Malcolm. And that man taught Ali. And that man taught Warathuddin. And that man taught me. And that man taught thousands. And we have excelled because we met a man in whom was the indwelling spirit of the living God. I close with these words from the Quran. It says to Muhammad, peace be upon him, when they fought, and they fought overwhelming numbers, and they were small in number, and they defeated overwhelming numbers, Allah said to Muhammad, it was not you who slew them. It was I who slew them by your hands. Who then was the actor? The actor was God. And when you are a Muslim and you submit your will to do the will of God, then it should not be you acting, you talking, you walking. It should be God walking in you. And when all humanity has God living in them, then the earth will be a mosque. And there will be no more bloodshed. And then everywhere you look, there will be peace, peace, peace. May Allah bless you all as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum. Come on, brother, get to the microphone. My dear brother, we love you, man.
Minister Louis Farrakhan and the life-giving message that he's given to all of us this afternoon. Muhammad Ali. Ali. All praise is due to Allah.
Brothers, sisters, please be seated. How many of you are here today for your first time? You've never been before. May I see your hands? Wonderful, wonderful. There are many over in the gymnasium, many downstairs. I'd like to ask you that are here and those that are in the gym, those of you who heard what I said, how many of you believe that what I said is true and is good for us as a people? Let me see your hands. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Those of you who heard this and would like to accept it and become a part of the world of Islam, which means you want to be what God created you to be, a righteous person. I would like to have the privilege of shaking your hand and welcoming you into your nation. And you will have nearly 2 billion brothers and sisters all over the world that are your brothers, your sisters. And you will not need to be a citizen anywhere. When you're a Muslim, you're a citizen of the whole world of Islam. Those of you who would like to unite with me and with us, would you raise your hands? Don't be bashful, raise them up high. Thank you. Then, I want you to get up out of your seats, sisters. Come on down and let me shake your hands. Brothers, get up out of your seat, come on down. And let me have the privilege of shaking your hand. The rest, please keep your seats. This will only take a few minutes. Would you mind? And then we'll all be dismissed by prayer. Brother Ali, I don't know whether I don't think we should wear him down by shaking everybody's hand, but you can certainly recognize him as he will recognize you as you join on to that which he is now one of the great exponents and teachers of Islam all over the world. So let me shake the hands of the believers. Come on, sister.
All praises,
Allah bless you.
all praises due to Allah. Let's give our brothers and sisters that are standing in the aisle a warm round of applause. Let them feel welcome to our mosque, into our family, into our nation. And we want to ask all of those that are shaking the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's hand, let us make way for them. Let us continue to give these brothers and sisters a warm round of applause. Put your hands together, brothers and sisters. We are proud, we are happy. We share in the joy that these brothers and sisters share today as they make a stand to unite with their family and to support and to back a courageous leader, a divine leader, teacher, and guide that we have in our midst today, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Your arms are not tired, your hands are not tired. This is a day of joy, a day of happiness, because we see our people uniting all over the world, and we're uniting here in Chicago, uniting in Los Angeles, uniting in New York, all of the major cities across this country as you view this wonderful broadcast today from Mosque Maryam. Let's keep our applause going. Put your hands together. We ask the brothers and sisters that are coming forward if they would just shake the minister's hand and let us make way and move as quickly as possible. All praise is due to Allah. I don't hear you, Mosque Maryam. Keep your applause going. Keep your hands together. Put your hands together and share the joy and happiness that these beautiful sisters are feeling right now in their hearts as they shake the hand of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and unite with their own. And now our brothers will make their way down the center aisle to shake the hand of our illustrious leader, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Where's the brothers that's going to take the brother? Yes, sir. Give me a little time. May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you, sister.
All praise is due to Allah.
May Allah bless you, my sister. Thank you. May Allah bless you, sister.
This is a great day. This is a great day. All praise is due to Allah. Our brothers continue to make their way down the center aisle to shake the hand of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as we unite with our own, as we accept our own and learn to be ourselves. Keep your applause going, brothers and sisters. Put your hands together, show your love. Show your love. All praises due to Allah.
I have a message from Sheikh Hassan at home to you. I don't know how to give it to you.
Okay,
Can I come to your home?
just wait for me.
Okay, just wait.
Our brothers and sisters are lining up in the gymnasium downstairs in the Masala. We're full to capacity here at Mosque Mariam as our brothers and sisters continue to make their way to join on to their own kind and to unite
Glad to see you again.
so that we can truly be one community, one family, under one God. All praise is due to Allah.
Yes.
Brothers, we're going to ask you if you would please just shake the minister's hand
Thank you.
and refrain from asking any questions at this time, and join us this Wednesday night as Minister Farrakhan will return right here at Mosque Mariam to deliver part 2 of this message today. All praise is due to Allah.
Allah bless you, my brother.
Please, brothers, if you would just shake his hand and continue. We want to continue to move the aisle. There are several brothers lined up to shake the minister's hand. All praise is due to Allah.
May Allah bless you, sir. Bless you, little one.
Come on, brothers and sisters. Put your hands together. Keep it going now. Keep it going. Keep it going. This is a great day.
May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you, my brother.
We're coming to you live from Mosque Mariam throughout the United States, Mexico, the Caribbean, South America, and other parts of the world. And we just heard a timely message from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Today's tape will be available at the conclusion of our service. All praise is due to Allah.
May Allah bless you, my
Oh,
brother.
my brother, I love you.
Love you.
Keep it
Oh, I
going,
love
keep
you.
it going. This is our
I've been wanting to see you for a
afternoon
long
exercise
time.
that we missed this
Oh,
morning.
brother, I love you. Thank you. Oh, Jesus.
I know.
One day I want to come see you and talk to you.
We want to
Yes, sir.
announce to all of our listening
I got a
audience,
lot
our
to tell you.
Yes, sir.
satellite viewing audience, that the videos and audios and books of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan can be purchased. You can call toll free at 1-888-695-3982. Again, that is toll free 1-888-695-3982. Or log on to the website at store.finalcall.com. That's store.finalcall.com.
May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you.
Oh, put your hands together, Mosque Mariam. This is our family coming
May Allah
together.
bless you.
This is the black man and woman coming together as one family under divine leadership. This is a great day.
May Allah bless you.
Let's share in the joy
May Allah
of
bless
this day and all of these wonderful, beautiful brothers and sisters that have stood up today to unite with the most powerful and courageous leader on the planet today, and that is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
bless you. May Allah bless you, brother. May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you, sir.
We want to
May
welcome
Allah bless you.
our brothers who are uniting today that have made their way thanks to the efforts of our big brother here, Brother James Muhammad from New Beginning. New Beginnings. We want to welcome all of those brothers and sisters who are visiting us today from New Beginnings,
May Allah bless you. May
from the
Allah
west side of Chicago.
May Allah bless you.
All praise is due to Allah.
May Allah bless you.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it. We got the last few brothers coming down, Mosque Mariam. Put your hands together. Oh, this is a great day.
May Allah
Look at the
bless you.
joy that are in the faces of those that are shaking the hand of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. All praise is due to Allah.
All I would ask of these that came today all I would ask of all those who came today, if you will bear witness that there is but one God, whose proper name is Allah. And if you will bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger, those words start you in the process of learning and becoming what Almighty God created us all to be, the righteous. So I hope that you will say, I bear witness that there is but one God, and his proper name is Allah. And I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. This does not mean that you give up Jesus, because none of us can be Muslims except we not only believe in Jesus, but live the life that Jesus lived. Please understand that. So, brothers and sisters, I thank you all. We have such wonderful guests that my assistant will read. I think I've done enough, brother. And I'm on my way to have a little something to eat. Oh, this is my brother wants to shake my hand. May Allah bless you, my brother. Thank you. And to all my guests, the spiritual leaders that are here, men and women, would you mind being my guest for dinner? I'd like to feed you all. It'll be a wonderful Muslim meal. Brother Munir, Brother George O'Hara, Dr. Alim, Minister James Bevel, my dear brother, next to him, all my ministers, brother, please come on to dinner with me, and the reverends that are on this side, sister, dinner is waiting for you. Now, I don't have but about, I don't know how many seats at the house to feed, so don't everybody show up. Because I don't have the 5 barley loaves and the 2 little fish that I can turn into 5,000 to feed. So you have to wait till you meet him. I'm not there yet. So I turn you into the hands of our wonderful assistant, Minister Ishmael Muhammad, who will close the meeting in prayer and name our great visitors. And I want to again thank you all for being here. This is your home. And if you want to come back Wednesday night for part 2, I'll be here. It starts at 8, from 8 to 10. That's it. Okay? And FOI? Yes, sir. I'm feeling pretty good. I think I will. I'll be to class tomorrow night. Assalamu alaikum.
All praises due to Allah for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Aren't we a blessed people? All praise.